As an artist, I understand the power of images. And for me to be able to contribute to this data bank of images, it means that I will help expand the narrative around Black women, the way people see Black women, the way people see beauty, the way people see the things Black women are able to accomplish. My name is Pamela Enyonu, an artist working out of Kampala, Uganda. I use a lot of media, and usually it's what's available. As long as it's available and it contributes to the story that I want to use, I will use it. In the very beginning, I was doing this for me. I was sort of going through some sort of creative constipation. So I decided to sort of let all that out, think of these cool ideas that I wanted to do and actually pursue the cool ideas. But art, like any other art, has an audience. And I find myself drawn to the audience of women that have shared the same experiences as mine. So my practice is a feminist practice. What is feminism for me? Is it a philosophy? Is it a way of life? Or it's a label? Once I was comfortable with what it was to me, then I didn't feel the pressure to announce to everybody that, hey, I'm a feminist. I let my actions talk for me. Through my work, you can tell that I subscribe to the school of feminism. Mixed media makes me feel like a scientist. You know how you enter a lab and you put together all these chemicals? There's a probability you don't know how they're going to turn out, or you might mix an explosion and blow up your whole lab. But the thing about mixed media is, like, in addition to bending material to your will, because the truth is that paint or water-based media, fluid media, is easy to manipulate. But mixed media, if you're bending metal to feel as fragile as paper, or you're bending paper to feel as hard as metal, there's a lot that goes into the process. There's a whole world of material research. It gives things new purpose, new lives. I get so much pleasure from recycling, from reusing a material. So all these pieces, all these headpieces were made using found objects. So you'll see that there's palm leaves, which we call mukeka, a palm leaf mat. And then here we have a bit of foil paper, the foil paper you use in the kitchen. This is like a recycled hat I picked from a secondhand store. This is also foil paper. So materiality is very important to me as an artist. Instead of having the question of like, oh, I don't have this to make a piece of art. For me, it's like, what do I have around me to make a piece of art? So this is the beginning of everything. It's literally a mind map of my brain. There is photographs, there is writings, there is all different kinds of things. One image can inspire texture, another image can inspire subject, another image can inspire color. So at this point, I am always thinking of what looks good together. Anything and everything can be an inspiration for me. But I have to say that at the top of the list of possible inspirations are three things: images, words, and interesting looking techniques and material. So this is what I am currently working on. It's part of a larger body of work that I'm calling Order of the Equator. So I'm creating these imaginary Black female leaders, some who exist today, and putting them together in a fictional order that I'm calling the Order of the Equator, allowing myself to believe that solutions can come out of the developing world. They can come out of East Africa, which is the cradle of mankind. The pandemic was an interesting time. For the first time, I was grounded in a very long time. I mean, there were two things for me. I either panic like everybody else, or I rise above it. I found that I had some canvases, I had some paint. I'm like, okay, you haven't painted in 10 years. How about you give it a go? So I started painting. So while the pandemic for me showed so much that was going wrong, the one thing that stayed with me is the loneliness of the pandemic. So the loneliness of the pandemic for me sort of guided me to create that first piece. And then from then it was history. I kept on trying to explore. I'm currently in the phase of also trying to figure out what my visual language would be as a painter. Obviously, the art industry is still an old boys club. So you find that a lot of the female artists fall by the wayside because they've got burdens and luggages to overcome even before they show up for a simple seminar or a class. I find that a lot of the female artists in this country, their work is a bit more nuanced. They are interested in community-based practices. About the future of the visual arts in Uganda, I'm excited. Why? Because I feel like we're going through what we call a butterfly phase. There are forces within the cocoon that are changing the industry. And I see it everywhere. I want to see women like me do cool things. I want them to be part of this collection of beautiful images that I'm constantly consuming. I don't want to just see other people. I want to see me and people who look like me. People who don't fit square holes.